Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tradesman Experience. This is the podcast built by tradesmen for tradesmen, where we discuss business, culture, leadership, and the mindset it takes to build a business and life you're proud of. My name is Josh. Let's get into it and let's get shit done. I'm going to get raw with you today because I want to kind of coattail off of the conversation that I had last week with Greg and talking about, what kills a business. And in that conversation, we talk about, the behaviors of the owner. The behaviors of the owner is what ultimately kills a business. Well, I don't want to talk business today. I'm going to mention some business things, but I don't want to talk business today. I want to have a real conversation about real shit, and I want to make it raw, and I want to make it authentic. And I think that you won't be shocked by the things that I say, but I'm not sure that you've ever heard me say these before. But I want to preface this because this is not a complaint session. This is not me bitching. This is not me making accusations. This is me fighting to protect a standard that we have sacrificed over the years as men, especially blue-collar men. So that's where this comes from. This comes from my core of elevating myself, elevating you as a person, not as a business owner, not even as a leader, but as a person. So I'm going to go through some stuff today, and I've outlined this conversation more so to not necessarily keep me on track, but so I don't forget to make some of the points that I want to make. But I think one of the biggest sacrifices, if you will, that we have continued to make in the skilled trades, in the blue collar industries, is personal conduct. Now, again, I'm no fucking angel. I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about, whatever come to your mind. We're blue collar, we're rough, we're knuckle draggers, we're get shit done motherfuckers. And I get that. And I support that. And I want to protect that. But we have to make sure that we're not paying the wrong price to do that. I think that too many people have accepted the stigma and given up on personal conduct and given up on personal professionalism to try to fit into this rugged edge box of what it means to be a blue collar badass, that you have to drink, you have to fight, you have to swear, you have to look grungy, you have to look dirty, you have to do hard things. And there's nothing wrong with doing hard things. I think as men, you should do hard things. I think you should constantly put yourself in a position that challenges your character in an educational way, challenges your stress factor in an educational way. So that's my preface to this as I go through these. But the personal conduct blows my mind. The average man today is divorced, overweight, and has less than $2,000 in their bank account. And immediately, you should not want to be average. Immediately, whatever you're doing, you should want to be a pro. You should want to be the best at whatever it is that you're doing. And if you are an apprentice, then you need to get really good at shutting up and listening and being really good at being an apprentice. You need to be really good at sweeping floors. You need to be really good at cleaning up. You're not entitled to shit. The journeyman, guess what? You're also not entitled to shit. You are not entitled to put yourself on a pedestal because I paid my dues. Fuck your dues. Your personal conduct should be one of the top areas of focus when becoming a professional. Your personal conduct. Greg and I discuss all of the time the financial stress that happens in business. Well, guess what? Your personal life leaks into your work life. And if you have a lot of financial stress in your personal life, it's going to leak into how you work, how you can focus, how you can discipline yourself, how you can grow professionally. So you need to have financial discipline. Part of your personal conduct is financial discipline, which means saying no when you know you need to say no. I don't know. Why do you, I mean, so here's a financial discipline: stop fucking drinking every day. Why do you need to drink every day? Why do you need to eat bullshit every day? There's no financial discipline in that character quality. There's no professional discipline or financial discipline in that conduct. The other one, and this one kills me, I don't see it as much with the older guys, but the younger guys, your relationship drama. Look, you're the one that fucked crazy. So keep your baby mama drama away from everybody else. And part of this conduct and part of this conversations, this is what I mean. When you get to work and you're a bag of ass because you were fighting with your significant other that morning or the night before, and you decided to get drunk, and that's how you handle things. And when you're, in the truck or on the job site, you're fucking miserable to be around. You have no conduct because your personal life sucks. That's part of your conduct. That's part of being a pro. If you don't have a good relationship, fucking get out of it. And man to man, you have a bad relationship because you are a piece of shit, probably. You don't have the emotional discipline and the conduct to elevate yourself above crazy. You're addicted to crazy. Grow the fuck up. Stop impregnating crazy. Fucking get over it. God, sorry. That one pisses me off a lot because your drama becomes work drama and it fucks up my place and everybody around you. So good God. One of the things that I have learned, and maybe this is a bit of maturing with age, is how much I prioritize my sleep now. And I say with age because, like, I think all of us, at 25 years old, man, you can work all day, fuck all night, get in fights, go to work and be fresh and ready. Well, I can't do that at, 44. Maybe I'm weak, probably, but I really like my sleep. I really enjoy prioritizing my sleep. Does that mean I get perfect sleep every night? Good God, no way. I wish, but sleep has become a priority. Health is something that I constantly try to focus on. I say try to focus on. I constantly focus on it, but I try to manage that as much as possible. Well, those are things that you need to be managing. If you're staying up till 1 or 2 in the morning gaming or having garage beers, why? How does that add value to tomorrow? How does that add value to you being a professional or a better husband or a better father or a better spouse or a better wife, a better mother? Like, how does that add value to you? It doesn't. It doesn't add value to you. But every night you'll doom scroll or binge Netflix for hours, and then you wonder why you can't go to sleep. No shit. You can't lay on the fucking couch for 3 hours and expect to go to bed and fall asleep. You're not tired. You rested up for bed. You spent 3 hours resting up for bed. Congratulations. Now you have insomnia because you're not fucking tired and your sleep schedule sucks. Guys, I told you, this is real talk. I'm talking to you because you need to be a professional. And everybody on here is in different areas of their life, different areas of their relationships, different area of their profession. And some of this is going to strike a nerve. Some of this isn't going to apply. Some of this you're not going to understand. But at the end of the day, is everything that you're doing fueling you being a fucking pro? That's the question that I want you to try to answer as we go through this today. So when you don't have good conduct and you don't have good sleep and you don't take care of your health, when you show up, everybody gets this fractured, shitty, tired, complaining drama version of you. and then you're expected to do your job at 100%. That's not fair to everybody else around you. Just like, listen, if you have a job that you hate, or you work for a boss that you don't like, or you're in a toxic culture, work also bleeds into life. So just like my examples of this, of bringing that shit to work, when you're stuck in those situations at work, you bring that stuff home and you take it out on your family. That's also not fair to them. You're not showing up for them because, again, you're not dealing with the problem. You can go do something else. You can go get a different job. I'm not saying you need to go start your own company, but what I'm saying is you need to take a risk, because the deterioration that's happening around your mental health, your physical health, your family health, because you continue this cycle of psychosis and not being a professional, you keep bumping up against this glass ceiling. You've got to fucking change it. And that's what it takes to be a pro. You have to make hard decisions. You have to make sacrifices. You have to pay the price. There is a fucking trade-off. And those of you thinking about starting your own business, if you don't think there's a trade-off, you're not smart enough to start your own business. So when you think about conduct and you think about physical health and mental health and the stuff I'm talking about, and this is a pet peeve of mine, is appearance. And this is what I mean when I said earlier, there's the stigma that we've replaced, that we have to look a certain way. You can't look professional in the blue collar industries. That's widely been accepted in the trades, that you're not supposed to look professional. I know the saying is, dress for the job that you want. Well, most of you dress like you live in a fucking cardboard box behind a dumpster behind Bob's Burgers. Like, God forbid you take a bath or fucking shave your beard or use hygiene. Like, it's shocking that some guys can't even do that, because they'll go home and they'll eat some kind of bullshit meal and they'll doom scroll, they'll binge, they'll game, and they're like, "Oh, I'm fucking too tired. I'm not going to shower today." Everybody else fucking hates you because you stink. Nobody wants to be close to you because your breath smells like a cat's asshole. Like, get the fuck away from me. There's a standard. Be a pro. So for me, appearance was always important. Call it vain, call it whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. But appearance isn't just about looking nice. It's about organization. It's about looking prepared. It's about looking confident. See, we often misunderstand our skill set. We often believe that our skill set is what progresses us forward. Well, it's not. It's not the only thing, I should say. It's very important, but it's just a percentage of the piece that you need. It's a percentage of the whole pie. And having a confident, professional appearance sets the tone. If you don't look and act professional and confident in what you do, people don't trust that you can do it. And if you've ever been in a situation where, someone didn't take you seriously or believe what you were telling them, then you need to look at the reflection of what they're seeing. You don't have confidence in what you say. You probably have arrogance in what you say, but you don't look like you do the things that you do. So for me, and I know a lot of this comes from my work background of working in, the residential industries, in the home service industries, the little old lady down the street doesn't want to open the door for somebody that looks like is going to rob her, or looks like they haven't slept in 3 days or taken a shower in 3 days. So for me, the appearance was always a very strong portion of this equation of being a pro, of being a professional, being squared away, the tools, the truck, the uniform, all of that stuff too is an absolute reflection of who you are at home. Not always. I'm gonna I don't know if it's an asterisk or a caveat or a fucking tangent here, but I know people that are a true pro at work and a complete bag of ass at home. They're monsters on the job site and they're assholes at home because they don't take on any responsibility of the home. This is a huge problem, I think. The responsibility gets unspoken delegation, right? It just, for some reason, it falls on the spouse. It falls on the wife or the woman of the house. And to me, that's part of that, again, part of being a professional. I mean, I still talk to guys that have never done their own laundry, and it makes me want to throat punch them. Because if you've never done your own laundry, then you just have this expectation that all your shit is always clean, always hung up, always folded, always available. Like some servant works at your house for you. Well, I pay the mortgage. Good for you, motherfucker. You're a provider. That's a piece of the puzzle here. I think this hour is going to sound like a fucking tangent or a vent session, but god damn, I'm tired of lazy, fucking complaining, drama addicted assholes that get paid to do a job. I understand the talent war is the war right now. It's not market share, it's the talent war. And some of these motherfuckers are getting paid way too much because they suck at what they do. They're not a professional. They're not great at their craft, but they're getting so much money thrown at them because God forbid they go somewhere else and make money. It's fucking crazy. But if you have to look at the overall picture again of organization and discipline and communication and appearance. So the organization is a big part. Again, if you're not organized at home, chances are you're not going to be organized at work. And if you're not organized at work, chances are you're not going to be organized at home. You shouldn't be trying to live these two different lives. You should be the same person in each life. Therefore, it's one life. I was talking about the talent war right now. Skill mastery. Skill mastery, even though I think that it on my list it comes third, because for me it's attitude, performance, and skill set in that order. That's how I grade people. That's how I hire people. That's how I fire people. I believe in those three things. I believe that skill set is third, but that doesn't mean that it's not important. Doesn't mean that skill set mastery and tool competency is not important. We have a job to do. We have a job. And when I see somebody that's been in their industry for 20, 30 plus years and doesn't have tool competency, doesn't have skill set mastery, well, I don't have the words. You're just fucking lazy, I guess. Or you peaked a long time ago. And if that's the case, then just say you peaked. And don't hide behind this facade of you're the greatest, you're the smartest. That's ridiculous. Everybody else can see through that. Apparently you can't see through it, but everybody else can see through it. But for the sake of being a professional, you need to have skill mastery. You need to have tool competency. And you need to know how to organize and implement and discipline that. It's interesting. I think that the three words that most people don't like to say is, I don't know. I don't know. And I don't want to hear I can't. Like that's not what I'm looking for. But when somebody says, if I hear somebody say I don't know, that is such a state of humility. That's such a state of vulnerability that they're willing to learn and willing to admit and accept the fact that uh, they can't do this thing only because not that they don't want to, they lack certain things. Give me that person every day. Give me the person that says, I don't know how to do that. I don't know what that means. I don't know if I can reach that. I don't know. Like if those are the three words, but you have the confidence to learn, you have the competency to apply yourself, those words are fine. It says a lot about your character if you can admit that you don't know. So learning the skill, understanding the tool mastery, discipline in the organization, all of that, that's all part of being a pro. So I've said, I've talked about the discipline aspect of it several times here. And to me, this is, if I were to rank these, I don't know what I would rank the other ones, but I really think that emotional discipline is top of the list, even over conduct, because I think emotional discipline drives conduct. And I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you an example of what it means, of toxic masculinity, to be a toxic man. I'm going to give you a household example of that. And then I'm going to give you an example of what emotional discipline is. So here's an example of toxic masculinity. And a lot of us that have baby boomer parents, I think can relate to this, right? If you think back when you're a kid, or if you've ever witnessed this, and dad's in a bad mood. Okay. Dad had a bad day at work. He's in a bad mood. He doesn't have to explain himself. He doesn't have to say that he's in a bad mood. There's an immediate expectation that everybody is quiet and everybody walks on eggshells. It's this unspoken expectation. And in the same house with the same people, if the mother is having a bad day, typically the man of the house will tend to make fun of or belittle her. Oh, your mom's on the rag today. Oh, your mom's hormones are out of whack. Oh, your mom didn't get this thing. She becomes the punchline. Dad's never allowed to be the punchline. Mom's always the punchline. Okay, that's an example of toxic masculinity in the home. The emotional discipline behind that, and I will tell you this about myself, is one of the reason that Katie and I have the healthy relationship that we have, and we constantly work in building the communication like we do, is because I have never used anger or fear towards her. I'm not saying I haven't been angry about the situation. Don't misunderstand me. But I've never used anger or fear towards her, because that's emotional discipline. Because I'm a confident masculine male. I don't need to express myself through anger. I don't need to express myself through creating fear in others. That's emotional discipline. And to elaborate on that a little bit, if you yell at your partner, you are a fucking piece of shit. Period. If you have to yell at your partner, you're a piece of shit. And if you disagree with me, hopefully we meet one day and you can convince me otherwise, because I think you should be fucking executed. When we use anger and fear as leverage against those that are supposed to love us and those that we are supposed to love, you are a piece of shit. You are not a pro. You're not a professional dad. You're not a professional husband. You're not a fucking pro. You're a piece of shit. So the emotional discipline aspect of this is so crucial, so key, and so difficult. You've got to learn how to handle yourself. Part of the emotional discipline too is being committed. The art of being non-committal today is, I think, an epidemic. And I think people are non-committal because if they're non-committal, there's no accountability needed, which is the other pandemic, right? It's like the accountability, the lack of accountability today. Everybody thinks they can do whatever they want and there's no consequences. You think you can act however you want at home and there's no consequences. You act however you want at work and there's no consequences. If you're going to be a pro and you are going to be a leader, you don't get to feel sorry for yourself. You don't get to go on a fucking bender, ignore the problem, and expect everyone to tolerate your bullshit. You don't get to do that. And it shocks the bejesus out of me that people behave in a way that this is acceptable. This is what's okay. And I'm not saying you can't go through a hard time, but what I'm saying is how you handle the hard time dictates the outcome. It dictates who's still with you at the end. When you get through the bullshit, you're allowed to have bad days, bad months, bad years. You're human. We're human. This is life. But you're not allowed to feel sorry for yourself, and you're not allowed to do whatever the fuck you want and expect everyone else to accept, tolerate, and support your bullshit. And that's part of this lacking of emotional discipline and emotional maturity. Because I promise you can justify it to make sense, but you just drag people along and eventually people get tired of being drug along. The other piece of emotional discipline here is communication. And I said that, it's something that Katie and I work on all the time. And the reason that I'm admitting that is because as much as I talk and teach communication, it's something I still constantly have to work on. I am not perfect at it. I'm far from perfect at it. And oftentimes I think that I communicate enough and it's not. So we have to communicate about that. And I have to have the discipline to go, damn it, you're right. I'm not doing these things that I thought I was doing. And that's okay. That's okay. I don't attack or accuse, my significant other because she's willing to have hard conversations with me because we have really good communication. Greg and I have really good communication. No question, no topic off the table. We have the agreement and understanding that nothing is off the table. My project manager, who happens to be my youngest brother, same thing. The level of communication that we have about things is very, very open. It's very open because he runs the day-to-day operations of the HVAC business. It has to be open. I can't be a mushroom manager, keep him in the dark, feed him shit and hope he grows. That's a mushroom manager. So there has to be constant communication. On the topic of communication and being a pro and having good conduct and emotional discipline, the quality of conversation that we have, it's in every workplace. And I'm not saying it has to be eliminated internally or entirely, because there is some level of personalization and openness about it. But the quality of the relationship that you're having is always important. Otherwise, it's irrelevant, or it's gossip, or it's complaining, or it's negativity. Now, you can see that there is some dichotomy here, okay? Well, if I'm supposed to communicate with someone and you call it complaining, what the fuck am I supposed to do? That's a valid argument. What I will tell you is you need to communicate intentionally. You need to have emotional discipline when you do it. You need to communicate with someone that can empathize with you, that can understand you, that will listen to you, give you advice if you want it. But the open vomit complaining is not communication. So when you need to communicate about something, you need to do it intentionally with someone that is intentional. That's how you overcome this pitfall of negativity. I'm looking over here. I know those that are listening and can't watch, I have a list I'm referencing here again to keep me on track, but um, I'm using communication to segue into my next point about being intentional to someone that's intentional is the addiction and dependency in the blue collar. Again, I can't speak for women. I'm not a woman. I can speak for men and what I see in men. And if if you have this dependency, you have to recognize that there's something broken on the inside. There's something broken on the inside and you're not okay, and you seek dependency and addiction as a distraction, or the distraction becomes dependency and becomes an addiction. Now, whether that's alcohol, pills, drugs, porn, gaming, social media, cheating, maybe the social environment, whatever it is, you create this dependency. You become codependent on this thing because you don't want to face the facts. And the facts are the facts. There's no ignoring it. There's no changing it. There's no anything except accepting the fact that it's the fact. And if you're dealing with that shit, you need to communicate with someone that is intentional. And what I mean by intentionally communicating with someone that's intentional is you're not going to be judged. You're not going to be gossiped about. That you can have an open, honest, confidential conversation, and that's intentionality. And again, with someone that's intentional, I do have. Luckily for me, I have a couple people in my life that I can have those conversations with, and it's amazing. And part of this addiction and dependency we know is to mask the reality. But it's interesting because we put this mask on that everything's good, that everything's right, that we're strong, that we're capable, that we're resolute, that we have emotional discipline. And then when we are out of that setting, when we're out of that situation, when we're out of that environment, we fall back into the addiction and dependency that covers up what's really going on in the next layer. You should understand there's no finish line here except the grave. So what do you want to do in the meantime? It should be a constant process of progress. You should be constantly working to get better, even though you may be going backwards right now. You may have lost your job. You may have lost your spouse. You may, you may have experienced tragedy. You may be trying to grow the business and it's not working. You may be trying to hire people and you can't find them. We're always and forever faced with these obstacles. It's hard. It's fucking supposed to be hard. Look at people that choose an easy life. Look at the people that choose an easy life. They're 30. They live in the basement of their parents' home. They live as an avatar in a virtual world. They're fucking disgusting, right? They have no personal discipline. They have no physical health. They have poor mental health. They have no hygiene. They have no social relationships. They have nobody in their life that they can call at 3 a.m. to get in a truck and go bury a body, right? Like they don't have the things that it takes to earn those things. They don't have the discipline. And because they choose an easy life, they choose a life of ease. It's so easy to be lazy today. Everything is so fucking convenient. You can get groceries delivered to your house. You can get food delivered to your house. You can get drinks delivered to your house. We live in a society, you don't even have to leave the house, especially, well, if you live in your parents' basement and they pay all the bills. But also you can make income online. You never have to leave. It's so convenient to be fucking lazy today. And it's so easy for the addiction and dependencies. Look, I have overcome some of these addiction and dependencies. I had to create boundaries. I've worked and dealt with this bullshit. And that's why I can speak on it. I've got the scars and the stories and the broken relationships and the fucked up home life, growing up, and like I've got all the same story, but no one cares. It's who gives a shit about my fucking sad story? I'm not that's what I'm not advocating for. I'm not advocating for sympathy. I'm just telling you that at the end of the day, you have a decision. And at the beginning of every day, you have a decision. And some days you're going to suck at it, and some days you're going to miss the mark. And some days you're going to fucking crush it, and you're going to go home bone tired, feeling like an absolute warrior. Work on repeating those days. So if you understand that there's no finish line to this except the grave, then the focus should always be growth. I said that, like the process should be progress. The progress in the relationship, right? Everybody matures, things happen. You need to continue the conversations. This is interesting too. Like people's interests change and their spouse doesn't even know it, right? You do the same thing you've always done, and it's just assumed that's what everybody always likes. Things change. You have to have focused growth. This one's going to be a little bit taboo, and I understand. I already told you in the beginning I was going to be raw and authentic with you guys. Some of you guys do an amazing thing, and you have family dinners like every weekend, like every Sunday after church or every Saturday or breakfast, or you go over and to your parents or your in-laws or your grandparents' house, and the family gets there, and you guys have been doing it for generations. And you do it because you've always done it. And there are instances where it's a beautiful thing. And there are other instances where you do that because that's what you've always done, and it drains the energy from you worse than anything else in the whole week. So you go through the whole week, you fight these battles, you do these things, you deal with everything gets thrown at you, and then at the end of the week you have to pile up and you drive to this place just to drain the last fucking bit of life out of you. Why? Because that's what you've always done, because that's what others expect of you. Part of having growth is having boundaries. And I know some of you are listening and realizing that when you do that thing, whatever that thing is, it's a formality. It doesn't add value. It doesn't offer growth. It doesn't offer opportunity. It's just a formality. It keeps the peace. You guys have probably figured out I don't really give a shit about keeping peace. And you want to talk about something that is very freeing. When you stop fucking caring about what other people think and say and tell you what you should do, fuck out of here. You got to do what's in your best interest and the interest of those closest to you. And then once you get through that, then you get to invite in opinions that you want. Like my opinion has to be an invited opinion. You're not just going to sit here and listen to me talk for 45 minutes about what I think if my opinion's not invited. If you don't invite me into your circle, into your conversation, into your thought process, it doesn't matter. And that's okay. There's so much information available. I want you to find something that works for you, that resonates with you, that motivates you, that pushes you, that challenges you. I'm here to challenge you today. So you've got to have focused growth. And then I'm going to close this up with understanding that being a leader is being a pro. Being a leader is being a pro. I don't have to be better at your job than you do, but I have to be better at my job. And the reason I say that is in the skilled trades, a lot of people think that to become a manager or a superintendent or, a leader, that you have to be the best person at the job. Now, there are also positions of promotion that require you to be really, really good at your job or potentially the best at your job. But leadership doesn't require you to be the best at your job. It requires you to be the best you. It requires you to be the best father. It requires you to be the best spouse. It requires you to have emotional discipline and not fucking feel sorry for yourself. You have to be resolute in the face of difficulty and the obstacle of failure. You have to get up and do the things that you don't want to do when you need to do them. So, being a professional is being a leader, and being a leader is exemplifying the standard and expectations that you have of others. Nobody wants to go into a gym and get fitness advice from somebody that's out of shape. Nobody wants to go to, a financial advisor and take advice from an advisor that's broke and doesn't have any money. You're not going to come to me and get advice from me as a coach if I haven't done what you're trying to do. So you need to understand as a leader that you constantly have to look forward and focus on growth. You constantly have to look inward and focus on discipline and maturity. And you have to constantly look behind you to see who's following. And that's forever. Again, there's no finish line here, only the grave. So when you recognize, I don't know what that word was, when you recognize that the process of progress is the goal, that being in pursuit of the better you is the goal, that being in pursuit of developing the business and growing the team and having the better relationship and raising your children and doing the things that this one single piece of just working hard doesn't fill the gaps of all of those areas. Accept that it's difficult. Accept that it's hard. Accept that you're going to fail. You're going to fail on the daily. I fail on the daily. The days I hit my snooze, I fail. I started the fucking day off with a loss. I failed. Get to the gym late. Now I'm rushed. I failed. I don't get the project finished when I need it at work or trying to do this thing. I failed. Like, you fail on the daily, but you've got to have the discipline and the maturity and be resolute enough to keep going forward. See, I really want you to be successful, and whatever that means to you. I want you to be confident. I also want you to be collected and calm. I want you to be a leader. I want you to be a good father. I want you to be a good spouse. And I want you to shape and carve yourself into someone that respect is earned. I want you to mold yourself into somebody that has confidence without arrogance. I want you to put in the fucking reps, man, and do better. Do better. And as I'm recording this for you today, I'm recording it for myself because I'm looking into the camera. So I've had this entire conversation in a mirror today, and it's motivating for me because I know I've got to get more shit done, and I've got to do better, and I've got to focus on growth, and I've got to spend more time with my girl, and I've got to spend more time growing the company, and I've got to do the things, and you've got the things to do as well. So if you've stuck with me for these 45 minutes, I appreciate it. It never goes unnoticed, all of the feedback and the emails and the DMs that I get from you guys and telling me your story and asking me questions and giving me your feedback. It's always extremely appreciated. And I hope you keep doing it. I hope you stay on this journey with us. I hope you keep listening. You can find us on Instagram at the Blue Collar Insiders. Guys, that's the best place to find us. Until next time, be proud to be a tradesman. Get shit done. See ya.